Dive into the world of DBMS with ERDs, the map of your data universe. This segment illuminates how these diagrams detail the relationships within your business's database, clear, concise, and connected. Witness how one salary account relates to one employee and how roles interlink employees. Join Vishwa to master ERDs and prepare to transform your data into an orchestrated network of information. Let's begin this visual journey into the structure of your data efficient, insightful essential. It's time to design your data's future starting now.
So throughout this, we have talked about, relational database management system, and we have emphasized enough on the word called relation. What we understand from that is that anything that we are trying to store, the different entities, the different tables, they are actually somehow related to each other. Now there can be different kind of relationship, like there is a one-way relationship, or there will be a two-way relationship. There can be one to many, or there can be many to one, right? So there are different possibilities of relationships, and when we decide or design any kind of schema, at the time of the designing itself, we decide on that how two entities will be dependent on each other, right? And before delving, inserting data into it, we try to bring up a plan, a kind of diagrammatic representation of how the different relations, the different entities, and the different tables will be interacting among each other. So this is how we do with the help of the entity relationship diagram, or the ERDs. So ERDs are basically the visual representation of the different tables, the different entities that you have decided to construct in your database design, and it also shows that how the different entities are interacting with each other. Now if we talk about the different kind of interactions, there can be multiple kind of interaction. On a high level, they can be like 1 to 1. It can be 1 to many, and just a mirror image of the second point, it can be many to 1. And we can also have like many to many kind of relationships. Let's try to take an example that you can see on the screen to understand all these four kind of relationship, like 1 to 1, 1 to many, many to 1, and many to many. So right now we have four entities we have defined. One is our employee. The another entity that we have is related to about which department a particular employee can be. The third entity is the salary, and the fourth entity talks about what kind of role a given employee will perform, or what kind of role he is expected to do, right?
If you've made it this far in the video, give us a like, a share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, tell us what you want to learn next in the comments, and then wait. Or skip the wait and become a data scientist in just 12 months with the Executive PG program in Data Science from IIIT Bangalore, powered by Upgrad in collaboration with experts from Meta, Myntra, and LinkedIn. Over 20,000 working professionals from over 65 batches have already done this course. Now, back to the video.
So let's first talk about relationship between the employee and a department, right? So we have two tables right now. One is related to the employee, which has two fields like employee ID and employee name, and another table talks about department, which is department ID and department name. Now, if we try to figure out the relationship between the employee and the department, we can easily make it out that every employee will have at least 0 or 1 department, but a department can have multiple employees. So if I have to see from the left to right, this is many to 1 mapping, because like multiple employees from this table can be a part of single department. But if we look from the direction from the right to left, there is 1 to many mapping, like one department can have the multiple employees, right? So if we try to find a relationship between the employee table and a department table, we can figure it out that it is a 1 to many mapping when we are talking from the department towards the employee, but it is many to 1 mapping when we're trying to see from the employee side towards the department side. So this is how we diagrammatically represent this thing, which is showing many employees are a part of the same department, and it can be a value 0 or 1. We have taken the value of 0. For example, if the employee just getting inducted and their department has yet not finalized. So in that case, an employee will have a no record for the department. But once he is properly inducted and he has been assigned a department, the value can be at most 1. So this is the representation of one-to-many and many-to-one relationship. So we have covered one-to-many and the many-to-one. Now let's try to talk about one-to-one. So as soon as an employee gets inducted in the company, their salary accounts get provisioned, right? And their account numbers are also created so that the salary gets created. So for every employee, they will have a unique salary ID and the account number. And for every salary ID, there will be only a unique employee ID and the employee number. So if we try to figure out the relationship between the employee as well as the salary ID, we can figure it out. It is a one-on-one kind of mapping. So this is what is the meaning of one-on-one kind of relationship. So we have covered that also. And then there are certain scenarios where there is a many-to-many mapping, right? So for example, in this case itself, so we have a table called employee and we have a table called role. So once you join a firm, you may be expected to perform in the different roles, right? So for example, you can be a mentor for someone, you can be an individual contributor, you can participate in some kind of fun activities, right? So the same employee can work in the capacity of the different roles. This is one thing. And similarly, for one given role, right? For a one given role of say mentor, there can be multiple, employees who are performing the same roles. So if I have to find the relationship between the employee ID and the role, I see there is a many to many relationships, and this is the how we diagrammatically represent a many to many relationship between the two entities in a RDBMS world. So this is all about entity relationship diagram. We have saw that what are the different kind of relationships possible and how we diagrammatically depict that. We'll try to understand more better when we'll be taking the demonstration sessions in which we'll be understanding our schema where we'll be running our SQL queries, and this is all about entity relationship diagram.
ERDs are a vital tool for understanding and organizing data. आगे की सोचो with upgrade and continue to develop your ability to visualize and structure data for tomorrow's needs.